This is the Puck Junk Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Puck Junk Hockey Podcast. I'm Sal Berry, and with me is Tim Parrish and Clemente Lisi. And today we're going to talk about the 2025-26 Upper Deck Series 1 hockey card set. We're also going to talk about some Shill bidding controversies that have been the talk of the hobby, for better or worse, over the past week or so. So, gentlemen, how are you doing? Clemente, we'll start with you this time. What's the latest and or the greatest?
I'm just happy to be able to get here and get over my food coma from over the 4-day weekend. So,
oh yeah, okay, that's good. Did you go out of town or did you stay put?
we were out of town. We were about 2.5 hours away on Long Island, where we usually go on vacation in the summer. We rent a home, and then we usually rent it for a few days during the break, which is nice because you get out of the city, nice and quiet. And I got to enjoy a nice Thanksgiving meal with my family, and then watched hockey on Friday and watched the Rangers win a pretty easy game against the Bruins until midway through the third period, where I thought maybe there'd be a Bruins comeback, but there wasn't. So it was nice to see a Rangers win on Friday.
Yeah, they were up like 4-0, if I remember correctly. And then,
then they start chipping away, and then the Rangers scored at the end. Some empty net goals, whatever. But yeah, it was one of those where with the Rangers, you never know, they might just give it all away at the end, but they didn't. So it was good.
Tim, how about you?
Oh, there's a lot of people out there that are lucky to have remained unharmed due to my large inventory of caffeine and my very extensive sense of humor. So, but other than that, I'm good.
Unharmed, I think those would be two great things together, caffeine and a great sense of humor.
Yeah, that's the only reason why people have remained unharmed for the last couple of days.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Right. Like that's what.
Like when people ask me stupid questions, it's like my legal obligation. I have to give a sarcastic response.
Yeah.
In fact, when they don't ask me stupid questions and just ask me questions in general, I have to give a sarcastic remark. So I've become that guy. You know what? I've always been that guy. Never mind. This isn't anything new.
It's hard to live up to expectations, right?
I just try not to have any. That way it is what it is. Like if you always just aim here, then if you hit here, you're doing all right.
Yeah.
So,
how's Thanksgiving?
I didn't have one. So
is that good or bad?
So I can't really answer that.
Pretty good.
I have no answer. I did not have one, so it was neither good nor bad.
Gotcha.
It's bad if you like food like me, especially Thanksgiving food, and I didn't get to have any. But there's nobody here. It was just my wife and I. We had a concert the night before that we went to in Chicago, and
that's right. Yes.
Didn't do anything the next day because there was nobody here, so there was no point in making a big meal.
I think the peace and quiet though sounds kind of nice, right?
It was all right. I don't
Okay.
know. I'm also of that age where I tend to sit and reminisce about when my kids were little, and I think about things and how they don't want to talk to me anymore or associate with me or be around me, or actually nobody does really. But anyway.
Cue the Cats in the Cradle song.
It's kind of like that. Like you think of all the things, you're like, what did I do wrong? Like I thought they were going to be here forever, and then they're not, and it makes you sad. And then I'm like, but this is what I worked for all this time. Freedom. It's like the freedom of being not untethered and to do what you want when you want. Like I wouldn't have gone to a concert the night before Thanksgiving ever before.
Right.
I mean, we used to get asked to play Black Wednesday all the time, and like everybody in the band would be like, we have families, like we have stuff going on, we can't do Black Friday. We did it twice. We did, like, in all the years of playing music, I think we did Black Wednesday twice, and it was just how you think it is. It's like New Year's Eve, only worse.
Blackout Wednesday, I think is what it's called.
Pretty much. pretty much. It's a big mess most of the time. But we were like, yeah, we have to cook the next day. We got family coming over. We got this, that, and the other. So I don't know. It's just whatever. It is what it is. I'm getting older. I'm having a midlife crisis, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say this, like, obviously you want your kids to be around, but I think if they were still living at home at age 40, you'd probably also say, what have I done wrong? Right. So
It's true.
there's
It's
like
true.
that kind of balance, right? Like you still want them to be around, and then they move, or, they want to do other things. And then when if they stay too long though, then you're just like, what, what, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have
want
kids,
a
so I don't
30-year-old still living in the basement. So
yeah.
18's bad enough.
Well, I think
I won't get into that one.
I'm not going to get into that either, because I mean, I pretty much lived at home until I was 22, but I was going to college, so I think that's kind of okay. But
so if I glitch out at some point in here, it's because the bandwidth's being eaten up by the one next door. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't do Thanksgiving was just typical small family dinner, and disappointingly, there were not a lot of leftovers, so I didn't take any. Because there wasn't really that much. So, which is okay, because I think about it and I go, I kind of like Thanksgiving food, but it's not like something I'd say, middle of July, I really want stuffing. You know what I mean? I think I just like the idea of not having to cook. I just like the idea of like Thanksgiving leftovers. You just throw them all on a plate. You heat it up for 2 minutes. Regardless of what it is, it just all goes in the microwave on the same plate for 2 minutes. Doesn't matter if it's all touching, kind of all tastes the same, more or less. So I think that's what I like, is just the thought of not having to plan meals for myself for like a day or two, so that didn't happen because I didn't have leftovers. And then I was a little too busy that as much as I wanted to start watching hockey at like 11 a.m., I was just on Black Friday now. I was like, you know what? I just got too much stuff to do because my school quarter ended. I had final grades for 3 classes. I got like 90 projects, give or take, maybe a little less, but whatever. I got a lot of work to do. So I couldn't really I got up and I was just kind of in the zone. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to just keep going as long as I feel like doing this. Clemente, you know how it is, right? Like when you're just in that mood to do it, maybe you say, I'm going to grade 5 papers, but you've graded 7 and you still have the energy. So you just keep going because you go, well, tomorrow I might not feel like this. So I'm going to try to do as much. So that was kind of my Black Friday. I want to start calling. Yeah.
But even if you do a little bit of work over the break, you still get Saturday off and Sunday. So, it's just the prolonged 4-day break. It's a big break. It's like the most I've had off since August. So it felt nice to, even if you're doing a little bit of work, it still feels like you're still in your pajamas. You're on the couch, like you're still at, the whole world has stopped, like no one's at work and that kind of thing. So that's always a nice feeling. And then, come Monday morning rolls around and you realize, oh, everyone's back at work. And I will say my email traffic was very low Monday morning. It was until like noon. I'm like, are people just waking up now? It was like clearly people were in a zombie state on a Monday morning.
Mine too. I thought today was a holiday also. I'm like, are the government offices closed today?
No, it's just
I was getting nothing.
Yeah,
I was getting nothing.
Yeah, it's just slow going.
35 emails from Thursday to today. Usually in that time frame, I would have 6 times that. And I couldn't believe it. And then I got like 3 emails all day, the rest of the day, that were of substance. I'm like, people must have just took a longer weekend or something. I don't know what it was.
And you also have now, I mean, let's be honest, we're like, 23, 24 days till Christmas, basically. So it's going to be very, it's like the final push, and then it's going to die. This month will just die out at some point, like on the 15th or 16th or something, but yeah, here we are. I mean, it's weird about Thanksgiving the last couple of years is, you go into Thanksgiving and then by the time Sunday night, it's like, oh, we're in Christmas season already. It's like, how did this happen? And so it's always like that, it happens.
One just rolls into the next.
Yeah, totally.
It's not like we have like 4th of July and then we have like Labor Day and then we have like Halloween and then we have Thanksgiving and there's like these big gaps in between. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm fine with one holiday a month. especially if we get time off work.
I like that idea.
It's a good pace.
I think 1 a month is good, and I think we should move Halloween to mid-October when it's actually warm enough for kids to trick or treat, not this end of October where it's 40 degrees and raining. So here's what we're going to talk about in today's podcast. We want to talk about some of these shill bidding controversies that have been the talk of the hobby, not because we necessarily want to talk about this topic, but because we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about this topic. But then we're also going to talk about 25-26 Upper Deck Series 1 hockey cards. And, what we've been doing now for maybe the past 20 or 30 episodes is we've added chapter breaks to this. So if you're just like, I don't care about the shill bidding, just want to talk about the hockey cards, then you could go to the chapter for that. Otherwise, yeah, just hang out and hear what we got to say about this. So shill bidding. I want to just give a quick recap of just some of the things that went down over the past couple of days. I'm not really too engrossed in this topic, so I kind of had to give myself a little bit of a crash course. But for those of you who don't know, shill bidding is when you bid on an item with the intent to artificially increase the price. So if I am listing a Wayne Gretzky rookie card and I say, I want this card to sell for $1,000. And I say to Clemente, hey, Clemente, would you bid $500? And then I say, hey, Tim, would you bid $505, right? So that drives up the price. And then when somebody else comes in and bids on it, then they're outbidding my shills. You know what I mean? Like, was it the bad guys in the movies always say, and you will do my bidding, right? And it's never a good thing, right? It's never a nice thing. It was always like Skeletor telling Beastman, you will do my bidding, right? And it was never like the good guys never said that. It was always a bad guy saying that my bidding, right? So, but anyway, so the idea is like when somebody bids on their own item or they have a friend bid on their item to drive up the price and basically either create a fake comp for it or to just make other people say, well, I'll bid, like if I'm the only bidder on this card and it goes for $10 and I'm the only person who bid on it, that's fine. But if somebody else bid on it $11, okay, well, I might bid $12 then, right? And I might not know that $11 bid might have been a fake bid. It might have been the guy's friend or his mom or someone bidding. Couple of things that came up in the news over the past week was that a high-end collector named Patrick Ryan, never heard of the guy, but he bid on his own item and was banned by Fanatics Collect, who was running the auction. How do you bid on your own item? He had an explanation for that. Also, a couple years ago, we talked about when Rick Probstein was kicked off of eBay for encouraging shill bids. There was this whole controversy where emails were leaked where he was basically telling people you need to bid on this card if you want it to sell for more money. So even though it would be listed under Probstein auctions on eBay, he would tell the person who consigned him the item, you need to bid on this to drive up the price. Well, okay, so then he started his own platform called Snipe, SNYPE. And then it was revealed that he was bidding on thousands of items because the website had some security issues. People were able to basically hack in or whatever, kind of sniff around and see that his own account had bid on a bunch of items. There's been a lot of talking about this on various podcasts. Admittedly, I do not listen to a lot of hobby podcasts. That changed over the last week as I was trying to get caught up on this. I thought it was funny that Dr. James Beckett, a.k.a. the guy who invented all the Beckett Price Guide magazines, said smart criminals don't bid on their own stuff. And then this raises the question, though, with all this like double talk, backpedaling, and people trying to explain nuance like we're stupid. Like, well, it was bidding on his own item, but... And so then that's got to bring up the question, is coverage of shill bidding clouded by sponsorships? So these are all the things that are just kind of swirling around in my brain right now as I try to make sense of this. What do you guys, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, before you dig further into it, Probstein getting kicked off, I don't know that he was ever actually kicked off. I think his count was suspended for like a minute, but all he got was a slap on the wrist. He's a power seller on there. He's one of eBay's largest sellers. So when he voluntarily left to start Snipe, eBay was kind of pissed.
Okay.
So, but now that he's back, it's all good again. So we're back to business as usual. So because smart criminals, right? So not that any of these folks are criminals, because I'm not calling them that, because I'm not looking for some kind of lawsuit to be thrown our direction.
No, we didn't
But,
say that.
Look, whether it's legal or not legal, okay, shill bidding is illegal according to the IRS and the federal government. Shill bidding is not allowed according to eBay, and it's in their terms of service. However, that's not the case when it comes to many, many, many other auction sites. Not only is shill bidding either not specifically lined in the rules, but in many cases, there's rules put in place where it's very easy to get away with it. Most auction houses even allow it to some extent, and it just depends on what your definition is. I mean, how many auction houses allow their employees, including the auctioneer, to bid on items that they're auctioning off? It's a lot of them. We're talking the big auction houses, like Sotheby's, ones like that, where you're bidding on artwork and museum type collectibles and pieces and things like that. So this isn't anything new. It's been going on forever. Doesn't make it right, though. Is it morally reprehensible? Kind of. Like it's fake. It creates fake market. It creates fake comparables. These comps that everybody loves and lives their whole life for. They're fake because you can't trust any of this. You create numerous accounts and have all of those accounts bid things up. The whole thing that happened with this Snipe website, where it fell apart, and it fell apart to the point where people could actually look into it and see who was bidding on these items and tied their, usernames back to the accounts that they belong to. I mean, think about it. Back when eBay was kind of in its infancy, or the early days of eBay, probably at least the first 10 years, I would say. I mean, you go through and look at all of that. You could look at who was bidding on stuff, and it was easy to tie them back. And then eBay got wised up, and they were like, hey, what if we randomize these username IDs? And once they did that, it wasn't as easy to figure out who was shill bidding and who wasn't. So if there's money involved, people will protect it.
I miss not being able to see who's actually bidding on items. I used to look at that a lot when I'd see an item that I wanted, and when I'd see a user ID, and I'd see who that. Sometimes you start to see, you bid on a lot of the same stuff, and then you see like who you're getting outbid by over and over again, and then you kind of look sometimes and go, this guy's got deeper pockets than me. I'm just going to let it go, right? Or you know what I mean? Or it kind of helped me actually to know who was also interested in an item. And I'll tell you this little story. Now, this is not shill bidding, but I'll tell you something that I would do. There was this, if I really wanted an item and somebody was outbidding me on an item, we were kind of bidding on each other on this item. You know how a lot of times the stuff that you're bidding on, a lot of the times they end within a few seconds of each other, because it might be the same seller selling like 20 different trading cards or 20 different action figures or whatever. I'd see what this guy was also bidding on, and I'd go bid on other stuff that he was bidding on to distract him from the thing that I really wanted. So if I wanted this one thing and I saw that C. Lisi was bidding on this thing, I'd go, okay, what else is this C. Lisi guy bidding on? Oh, he's bidding on these 5 other things. So then I'd start putting like these last second bids on those things so that his attention would be, diverted, so that I could really like just focus in on that one thing that I wanted.
Did you ever get stuck with anything that you didn't want, or no?
I don't think so. But you know what? It was all kind of in my wheelhouse anyways. You know what I mean? It was kind of
Right.
all like, well, if I win this too, that's fine because, that's how it is, right? Like, I think the only time I might have asked a seller to cancel a bid of mine, and it was just something stupid. It was just like a card that I bought that I already had, and it was like a $1 card. And I just said, look, dude, if you can't cancel it, no big deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I don't need it. I bid on this one and I meant to bid on that one. And it wasn't even a bid. It might have been a buy it now, but it was just more of like a stupid thing, not like a $100 item where I say, oh, I was intoxicated while bidding
Right.
or all
My
those
cat
dumb.
did it. Yeah,
My cat did it. My baby got my iPhone and just randomly started punching in numbers, right?
Yeah, that's not called shill bidding. I don't know what that's called, but it's kind of like being a jerk.
It's like a
Who,
regret
me?
regret bidding. It's like regret
Yeah.
bidding. It's
Re-
like, oh, I didn't mean to buy that.
Wait,
Like,
are you
this
talking
guy's
about?
bidding on what I want, so I'm going to like throw a bunch of grenades over here and blow up the other side of his house. So he has to go put that fire out.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like just basically starting. Okay, I can't. I can't. I'm trying to kick down the front door and that doesn't work. So yeah, I'm gonna set fire to his back lawn.
But you normally can't do that because most places where you bid, like an auction house or even eBay, that you can't see that anymore.
Yeah,
So
it's
there's no
anonymous.
way
You
to
can't see any of that stuff anymore.
No,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
eBay had a lot going wrong for it in like those late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, you literally could leave feedback for people even if you didn't buy from them. I don't even know how that makes sense.
Right.
But you could leave feedback for people who you did not have an auction with, and that doesn't make
Like,
sense. But
I don't
that
like
was
your
just
I don't like your avatar. It's like, okay.
kind of, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just really weird, like how much was wrong with that, or even the fact that like when somebody won your auction, you would have to email that person and say, "Thank you for winning my
I
auction.
remember that. I remember doing that. Yeah.
Here is how
Yep.
you can pay me." Right?
Yes.
Like you had to provide all that information. It was so much copying and pasting stuff that should have been automated. And guess what? Now it's automated to the point where like somebody bids and wins and it's tied to their credit card. And if they
Right.
don't pay within a certain amount of time, it just processes on their credit card.
We're talking about a time where like you had to send that email because it involved a check, like usually.
Oh my
Someone had to mail
God,
you a
yeah.
check. And I remember the first time, I can't tell you what date this was, maybe 15 years ago. I remember selling something and then immediately emailing the person and then realizing, oh, eBay already did that for me. I didn't even know because at some point it must have changed over and I didn't know because you're right. In the early eBay days, you had to really be hands on. It was almost like you were selling at a garage sale and you had to really interact with the person. Now you only interact with them if there's an issue. If you say, "Hey, look, the post office closed and doesn't open for 4 more days," and I'm going to mail it on Friday, even then
Yeah.
people don't, and even then people aren't that. I tend to be, if I sell something, I want to be very interactive with the buyer because I want them to be at ease. But oftentimes oftentimes no one says anything, and you get in the mail a week later, and that's it, and nothing else happens. In terms of the shill bidding, yeah, it seems like the last 2 weeks there's been all these stories and controversies, and all kind of snowballed to this big thing into what I like to refer to as, it's a cliche at this point, but they're saying the quiet part out loud. Like for some reason, the Probstein thing happened, and this other thing happened, and before you know it, people are giving their opinion on these very well-known podcasts, and before you know it, there's a lot of defending of this practice, which I think for people here, I don't want to speak for everybody here, but I was pretty shocked that someone like Dr. Beckett and even other people just defending this in a sense that, which makes me think that maybe I'm naive and this is a very, very common practice, which is probably why I haven't bought anything on eBay through auction in a long, long time. I usually just do the buy it now if I can, because I don't know that, like Sal said, hey, he's selling something, he calls me to fake bid it, to shill bid it, and then somebody else to drive the price up. That must be happening all the time. I'm kind of glad this has happened because it's truth. It seems like people are not just doing it, but they're defending it, which I guess brings us to the next step, which is every comp is not real, because you as the buyer could say, well, that's probably shill bid, and I think as a dealer, that'd be great to say to somebody, I don't do comps. I don't believe anything on here anymore. It's like,
I
boom.
don't. Yeah.
You know what? How do you argue that? How do you argue against that?
Against what?
Against if I said that everything that ever sold at auction has all been shill bid. Of course, it's not. But what is it? 50%, 60%, 70%? When people like Dr. Beckett and other people are saying this happens all the time, it's okay if you do it in this case and not in that case, and this auction houses do it, and it's like, oh well, then also it tells me that the entire hobby is a huge bubble. That even these high end auctions, some of these prices are not real. I'd love to know what the real price of some of this stuff would have been if there hadn't been third parties and other people shill bidding and driving the price up. And even an auction house, I don't want to name an auction house here, but how do I not know that an auction house is throwing in a bid, right? They tell one of their employees, just bid on this. And then if we get stuck with it, well, whatever. I guess that's the hard part. Like, you can't get stuck with the item. Otherwise, the buyer will say, well, then you have to buy it. So you just do it strategically. Maybe you bid early on. Maybe you I remember a couple of years ago, we talked about this, maybe last year, the whole idea of a mega bid, right? Like, you would say, I want that card. It's now at $9. I'm just going to bid $120. And then you might get it. You might get stuck with this high price. I mean, the idea of a mega bid is great for the sellers because they're like, you know what? If people are mega bidding, just keep driving the price up. Just keep driving it. Actually, mega bidding is driving the price up. But you want it so badly that you're like, I'm just going to put $200 on this, even if it's a $10 card. I just want to show that I can win this thing. And that's what, so it just becomes like I'm bigger and badder than you in terms of eBay or the last minute sniping on eBay and all that. So I don't know. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth and makes me just want to just go to a card show and buy a card, deal with the dealer face to face, or do a buy it now, or maybe you go to ComC. But auction
that's
houses,
the difference with the mega
eBay,
bid versus a shill bid, though.
Not for me.
Because the mega bid, you're going to bid a ton because you want the card bad enough, and whatever it ends up at is what you're going to do. Where that becomes problematic is when, if the dealer or seller or auctioneer or whoever it is knows what those bids are and where they're coming from, rather than what the high is, they know what the max is. And then they call all their buddies and say, hey, this guy's willing to pay $500 for this card. Bid it up to $499.
Right.
That's where it's a problem. The mega bid thing, I think it's more funny than anything else because, well, I'll admit it right now. In all the years of being on eBay, and it's been a long freaking time, I finally, not once, but twice, had to ask somebody to cancel a bid. Once because the decimal point didn't go into my thing that I was typing on my phone.
Oops.
Yeah. And after I hit it, I was like petrified when I saw it and it submitted it.
Unintentional mega bid.
Yeah. And I immediately messaged the guy. I'm like, I told him what happened, and that was, that got fixed. The other one was I had canceled. It's unrelated to this, but I didn't even see this. And I saw price, I saw shipping and blah, blah. I bid on it. I won. And then it was like, okay, now contact the seller to arrange pickup. I'm like, pickup?
Oh.
Didn't even see that anywhere in the thing that said local pickup only. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not driving to Toronto. So yeah. And that was recently, and I apologize for that. It was my screw up for not reading all the way. But it's happened. But to the bigger point of the whole thing, yeah, it's deceptive, it's fraudulent, it's unfair, it undermines like the integrity and the trust that people have in these services and that. And what makes matters worse, like you said, is when you have these industry bigwigs, these insiders, these heavy hitters, these names that have recognition within the hobby. People know them, they recognize them, they trust them, and they trust their opinion, and they hang on every word in all of the content that they throw out there. When these people basically defend it all, that's what blows my mind. And it's like, what do you have to gain by this, by coming to bat for the people and saying, oh, it's this, it's that, it's defensive shill bidding, it's offensive shill bidding, this kind is good, this kind's bad, This is this. This is this. Do we need a breakdown of all the reasons why things may or may not be illegal, or may or may not be immoral, or may or may not, violate the integrity of the whole idea of having an auction in the first place? Why do we need to like break it down into subcategories? Wrong is wrong. It creates a false sense of the market. It makes it completely inaccurate. And so the same thing I've been saying for years about comps being total BS, this just reinforces it. So I'll pat myself on the back because I knew it all along. So there you go.
I'm reminded of the story. I don't know if this was from the Bible or whatever. I went to Catholic school until 5th grade, but like about
Thou
the
shalt not shill bid.
no, I
The
mean
11th commandment.
maybe, but it was just like the story of like the merchant putting his thumb on the scale when they were like weighing the fruit that he was selling, so that it would look like it was more than it actually was. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's 2 pounds. You owe me this much, when actually it might have been 1.5 pounds, but he had his hand on it and he was like just pushing down on the thing.
The
Like,
swindler in the market.
is that the actual story, or?
Yeah, I don't know if that's from. I don't think it's from the Bible. I think it's just one of those like
Fables or
parables
or whatever.
Idioms, I think.
Well, it also became an expression. He's got his thumb on the scale, meaning he's cheating.
Right.
So
yeah.
So
what? Okay, first of all, no freaking way does somebody bid on their own item and not realize that they bid on their own item. Okay, because if I list a card for sale, or if I consign a card for sale, I know what I'm giving to somebody to sell. I'm not just throwing, especially these guys. Okay, all of us here, we're kind of like the $100 and under kind of crowd. Every now and then we might buy a big name card for whatever, a couple hundred or whatever, but like we're not, we're like the $5, $10, $20, $50 type, right? We're talking about people spending $20,000, $30,000 consigning these huge items. So if I have a card worth $30,000 and I'm consigning this for auction, I know what I'm consigning for auction because I want this thing to sell for a lot of money, so I make a lot of money, right? So first of all, anybody saying that they forgot they put it up for auction, or they didn't realize they were bidding on their own item, or it was an accident, that's all BS.
No, but
saying I put a bid on it to watch it, that's also BS, because you can watch an item. You can bookmark the page. There's a lot of ways to track an auction item. Sorry, Clemente, you were saying?
I was going to say, maybe there have been cases where someone mistakenly did that, but that can't be what this is. Because if it was the case, it'd be mass amnesia in the hobby. I'm talking about like, that's probably like, you can count on 2 hands how many times that's happened. But for people to say that now is an excuse to try to justify wrongdoing. It's like, oh, well, that was a mistake. Oh yeah, in that case it was this, or in that case I forgot. It's like, okay, that doesn't explain away all of the behavior, right? And so that's what I was gonna say.
Or the Dr. Beckett was talking about how what was it like? Well, if you knowingly bid on your own item, then that's wrong. But if you unknowingly bid on your own item, that's not wrong.
Well,
but
unknowingly,
like,
sure.
Yes.
But how often can that happen? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, sure, unknowingly, but he, and look, I have a lot of respect for him because we all read Beckett magazine as kids, and he's an authority. And I was on his podcast once. So he's cool. a great guy, a gentleman. But I can't understand what he was talking about on his various podcasts he appeared on. Was he playing devil's advocate? Was he defending it? Or was he just saying this is what people do? I'm a little confused as to what he was doing, because I think he gave the wrong impression. Someone like him should have said, no, this is all wrong. And the opposite of shill bidding is honesty. That's all. and there's nothing in between. Instead, he didn't do that. I think he created more ambiguity. Yeah. And when someone like that speaks that way, I think everyone goes, well, wait a minute then. So it must be really pervasive, or maybe it's not wrong. And someone like him, I expect to be more transparent because he's been around the hobby so many years. Some of these new people that come and go, they're on YouTube, whatever. I don't expect anything out of those people. They're not journalists. They're not, the hobby doesn't have like anyone watching it. There's no transparency in some cases. It's every time there's a scandal, we talk about it on here. We're always like, well, the federal government will get involved. Well, no, they won't, because it's just too much going on, I think. So none of that is actually happening. So that's my fear, is that there's no oversight whatsoever. Yeah, the law, but for the law to get involved, it would have to be a very massive thing. It would have to be almost like up there with like that recent NBA mafia gambling thing. It'd have to be that big, and it would take years and years of figuring this out. And you have to have whistleblowers and all that. And maybe it's not that big. It's maybe small potatoes for the government. So it's not, and people can talk about it openly, that they're doing this without any repercussion. They know they're not going to get a knock on the door from the FBI the next day because no one's paying attention, right? This is
the only times the feds get involved in the hobby is what? It's usually with fake autographs,
fake counterfeit,
and it's not so much that people are buying and selling fake autographs. It's when they buy and sell them and ship them through the mail.
Yeah,
it's a federal crime then, right?
Because it becomes a federal crime when you use a federal service to do whatever illegal crap you're doing.
Right.
And so that's really the only way that this, I guess, overlaps into that, because the hobby, as big as we think the hobby is, it's still small potatoes, I think, in the grand scheme. And do we want more regulation? Do we need more regulation? Does there need to be some type of oversight to all of this? Probably. And I think it's way more rampant than we think it is. Look, this whole firestorm got set off simply because of this mistaken bid on Fanatics, which got the person that did it either banned or suspended or booted or whatever it was. And if it was an honest mistake, well, an honest mistake can be honestly fixed. That's not really what this was, because this started the whole, hey, shill bidding has layers, and let's peel back the layers where there's this kind and this kind and this kind and this. No, there doesn't even need to be a conversation about that. And, it becomes this big scope of all these different ways. Well, you could do it this way, but not this way. And you could do it this way, not. No.
Yeah, it became a splitting hairs contest.
Yeah. Wrong is wrong. And you're right. I think he didn't explain this. If we're talking about what Dr. Beckett's stance was on it, he didn't explain it well in the initial conversation. In the extended part of that, he also didn't explain it well. And in subsequent times of being called out onto the table for what he said, he didn't really fix or clarify to the point where people would be like, oh yeah, I know what he means. Because here's the thing. I've heard a lot of people say shill bidding is also like, hey, I've got this. Oh, it's sitting here on my desk. I've got this Marty Natchez card, and it's in my collection, and it's like a rainbow whatever, and I think it should be worth $10, but there's one online and it's like $4, so I'm going to bid it up to $10, win it. So now I have a comp, and then I'm going to sell this one for $10 and that one for $10. So I'll be up $20 because I have a comp that says it's worth $10. That's not really shill bidding. That has a different definition, and it's also scummy, but
that's inflating the market.
That's not what that is.
Manipulation.
That's market manipulation, but it's not really shitting.
No.
Shilling
shill bidding or shitting for short.
Yeah,
I like it. You made a new term.
I was looking at the screen and I don't know.
That would be SHIDDING, shitting.
Shitting.
Not the other thing that rhymes with sitting, but shitting.
No, because I was looking at the screen and it says shill bidding, and I just called it that. Sorry.
You're like, Tim, are you shitting me, man?
That's my Freudian slip for the day. But yeah, so you have, that's something else. Like, you're not bidding on your own item. You're not telling other people to bid on your item with essentially no intention of paying at the end. Like if a friend comes into your auction and bids on your item because they want that item and they win it and they
That's
pay you
okay.
for it,
Yeah.
okay, cool, great. But that's not what we have happening. This goes
glad-
on Whatnot all the time. No one ever gets suspended.
I'm glad you brought that up though, because
So-
here's the thing: when they talked about like, well, it's not wrong if your friend bids on it and they really want to buy it. Okay, so how close of a friend are we talking, right? Like, because if I had a card that I was going to put up for auction and you said, Sal, I really want this card, I'd work something. We'd figure it out. You know what I mean? We would just figure it out. I wouldn't be like, well, Tim,
we would, yes.
yeah, I wouldn't be like, well, Tim, I'm going to put it up on auction and hopefully you'll win. You know what I mean? Like that would be a shitty SHIDDY thing to do to a friend, right? Like to,
I see what you did there.
to say, well, I hope you win it. You know what I mean? That's not what you would do for a friend, right? So when they say, well, if your friend bids on your item because they legitimately want to win it, it's like, well, they're really not your friend, or they're a shill, right?
What if I didn't know that you had that card and all of a sudden I saw it up for auction, I went and bid on it, and then I saw after I was like, oh, that's Sal's account. All right, cool. I'm not gonna like go and like text you and be like, hey, I just bid on one of your cards. Can you end the auction early and we'll make a deal offline? I'm not gonna do that.
You know,
I would just bid on it. If I win, I win. If I don't, I don't.
I
don't ever look at accounts when I bid, especially like on eBay and stuff.
I don't think you could
look
tell
at who's selling.
You can't really tell who's bidding on it though until they win.
You can't tell who's bidding, no. But I can tell who I'm buying from.
The buyer,
Like if I knew your account was
right,
Puck Junk 234 or whatever,
right.
You know, I mean, for how many years did I want cards that was listed by Probstein 123, and as soon as I saw it listed by them, I was like, nope, I'm out.
Right,
because
exactly.
we already knew, and whether it was legit or not, we already knew.
You don't want to get involved, right? Yeah. And look, on eBay, you can do that, but like, let's say you're bidding on a card from Golden, you don't know who the buyer is, and that's the whole thing.
You don't know who consigned it with Golden,
right?
Unless they tell you. If it's a high profile person, sometimes they'll tell you from the collection of Joe Smith,
or somebody who's a high roller, likes to brag and say, I put that card at Golden. Then all of a sudden everybody knows, but otherwise you don't know. I think what they're talking about shill bidding is, I think a lot of it is happening on eBay because it can be manipulated a lot easier because, you get a friend to do it, you drive the price up, it creates new comps, like you guys said. I do think that eBay doesn't care because it's hard to prove. It's hard to prove. It's easy and it makes money. And why rock the boat there? I mean, there's no way to know unless they were provided with email evidence. And even so, eBay would be like, so what do you want us to do now? Like, so it's not $100 card, it's a $90 card. Is it what you're arguing? I mean, I know that's a low amount. We're talking about 10K, 20K, whatever. But I don't know that people are selling $50,000 cards on eBay either. It happens, but it's not.
And that's really it. eBay is the biggest
marketplace
when it comes to pretty much sports card market. Yeah, it's small potatoes compared to the auction houses selling the hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stuff, but eBay does more. They do more auctions.
Yeah.
But they're one of the only ones that explicitly says in their terms of service that shill bidding is frowned upon, and you'll get kicked and booted for it. Look, PWCC got booted. Remember those guys? Remember those guys that we made fun of all the time and couldn't stand and would never bid on their auctions either, and they got caught and they got booted. And then guess what? They turned around and they're like, well, we're running our own auction platform. Oh, but we're in financial trouble. Oh, Fanatics bought us. So now it's Fanatics Live. Huh. Wow. My, how the tables have turned so quickly on that. And it's like, okay, well, they wanted an auction platform. They got it. It was built on lies, but that's cool. They could change it, make it be whatever they wanted it to be. And here we are. So like I said, this latest dust up was from somebody getting kicked off of Fanatics Live. So that's what prompted all of it. And he decided to go on a show and talk about it. And the whole world blew up and everybody had an opinion, including us. We're sitting here talking about it now. So, I mean, I don't know. It's scummy. It really is. And your last point that you had on there about the shill bidding, Sal, on your screen with all your bullet points,
Mm-hmm.
that last one on there, that's always been my biggest pet peeve. So for those that aren't watching and are just listening, it says, "Is the coverage of shill bidding clouded by sponsorships?" 1 billion. If you could have 1,000,000,000%, that's what it would be. It would be 1 Google percent, 1 followed by 100 zeros. I mean, that's what it is. If somebody's paying you for a sponsorship, for you to say, "Hey, buy this product. They're cool. They're great." Or, "Hey, put this banner on your screen," or "Put this advertisement in your show," or "Put this little icon down in the corner." If they're going to pay you, you're probably going to hesitate before you say anything controversial or bad or negative about these people. And there's way too many folks with voices that are on the take to many of these companies and individuals and people that do weird, shady stuff. It's uncanny. And every single time you'll find, if you listen to a lot of hobby content, which I used to, people start off with good intentions, and then they start getting popular. They bring in sponsors, and all of a sudden the tone changes. And it happens time and time and time again. So just consider the source. That's all I'm saying. Consider the source, because if you have sponsorships for auction houses that are clearly doing some of these shady things, and then you turn around and throw it out there that, it's okay, they don't have it in their terms of service, so technically it's not illegal. It still doesn't make it right just because they're throwing you a few bucks to put a banner ad on your screen. Come on. Really? Have we gotten to that point where we've sacrificed all of the integrity just for money and sponsorships? I mean, the answer is yes, we have. But, I mean, that's more of a, I don't know what's the right word, a pejorative question. I don't know if that's the right word, but
Rhetorical question.
yeah, kind of, whatever. I mean, whether you agree with me or not, that's always been my case. You can't fully trust the things that people are saying if they're on the take from the person or group or whatever it is that they're trying to make the statement about. Like, I mean, perfect example. I'm just going to throw this out there. If our show was sponsored by Upper Deck, like, let's say Upper Deck, Puck Junk brought to you by Upper Deck, and like, we reviewed their product every week, and they were giving us boxes to review, and they were saying, do this, and they were do this. And, at some point they could probably dictate everything we wrote about and everything we talked about. And then all of a sudden we just become a paid advertisement for their product. Well, that's cool. Great. We're all making fat money off of a sponsorship, but that loses something. Authenticity, for one, because how can you actually have an opinion knowing that the faucet's been turned on and it's constantly feeding you? Well, you're not going to give an honest take. You just aren't. And so I don't know. I have a problem with that, and I always have had a problem. If our show was sponsored by, I don't know, Kleenex. Everybody uses Kleenex. It may not be Kleenex brand. This was empty. It's just an empty box. Tissue, whatever brand it is, Ultra Soft, Members Mark. So that comes from Sam's Club. So you have a box.
Good stuff.
So we're sponsored by Members Mark tissues. What skin in the game do they have in anything that we do? We're a hobby show. I mean, other than selling pallets of Pokemon cards to crazy idiots, I don't know what Sam's Club has as far as stake in the hobby. That's different. It's a different business. It's not related. Like, The show's sponsored by Dude Wipes. Okay, cool. Sweet. Whatever. We don't talk about Dude Wipes. You might use them. I don't know what you do in the privacy of your own bathroom. I don't care. But we don't talk about their stuff. We're not influencing people to go out and buy it. They hope we are by running a little ad spot here and there. I don't know. I question the integrity, I guess. That's what I'm getting at. That's my long way around that.
I'll say this just because, we don't have ads on our podcast and we don't have sponsorships. And it's not, I don't want to say it's not for lack of trying. I've actually turned down some offers where I've been contacted by a couple of like podcast networks or whatever who said, hey, we'd love to have, add you to our network of sports podcasts. And we don't have a lot of hockey podcasts, or we know you do hobby content and we like that. And I would talk to them and I'd hear like, okay, what's the deal with this? And then they'd say, oh, well, you got to put some commercials at the beginning or at the end or in the middle, right? Like there'd be these things. And I'd say, okay, well, what kind of commercials? And then it's always DraftKings. And I mean, there were a couple other ones, but I mean, I'll listen to what people have to say. And I think about it and I go, well, okay, not only would this make a little money for the show, it would also save us money because they basically shoulder the operating costs. And after I think about it for a while, I go, okay, but, I got to pay for StreamYard, which we use to record the podcast. I got to pay for Transistor, which I use to host the podcast. I got to pay for Puck Junk, which is basically where I, for web hosting, for domain names, all these things add up, right? What used to be a fun little hobby 10, 15, 20 years ago. Oh, look at me. I have a blog. This was free on blogger.com, right? That's out the window now. Everything, as things get better, things cost money. And as more people do stuff, then there's this higher justification. When a blog was a very niche thing to do, you could just sign up for a free blog. Now that everybody wanted to have a blog at one point, then it became this kind of like marketplace where you would pay for these things, and you still pay for these things. The point I'm getting
you still get a free blog, just nobody will ever see it.
Well, that's true too. I mean, not necessarily, but for the most part, you're right. What I'm getting at, though, is when I thought about it and I said, I would be giving up I don't want to say my freedom, but yeah, kind of my freedom, right? Because if you throw in with somebody, then you kind of play by the rules, right? And then I got to say, okay, now we got to do this ad read for DraftKings, right? I don't like gambling. I don't like sports gambling. The only sports gambling I like is opening a pack of cards and hoping that I get a card that I want, right? Like that's about my extent of sports gambling, right? So this is now my long-winded way of saying that I really don't want sponsorships from like bigger companies because yeah, you're absolutely right. They do influence it, right? Like let's just use Topps as an example, right? Let's say Topps starts making hockey cards, right? And they want to sponsor our podcast and they would give us money and I'd be, wow, this would be great. But now let's say their new hockey cards come out and they suck. Well, now we have to sugarcoat that. And I don't want to. I want to have an opinion. I like talking about the stuff that I like, and I like talking about the stuff that I don't like. You know what I mean? If Topps sponsored us and they said, hey, Sal, remember you did that podcast about 80, 81 Topps hockey with the little scratch off black pucks and how much you hated that set. Yeah, we need you to take that down because that's influencing comps negatively on the second year Gretzky cards or whatever, right? Whatever nonsense. You see what I mean? So that's why when I say to people at the end of the show, if you'd like to sponsor this podcast, go to shop.puckjunk.com and buy a t-shirt. Because when you buy a t-shirt, that money actually goes into keeping this podcast going. And I would rather sell somebody a t-shirt, make a little bit of money on the t-shirt that goes into the podcast, and then people get a t-shirt that they enjoy wearing. Like Clemente is enjoying his 1990s hockey card wrapper t-shirt, right? Like I would rather do that than to say, oh, okay, DraftKings and whatever else, give me a bunch of money or make my operating costs go away. You know, I don't want that. That's not what I'm not really interested in that. I mean,
And
I
that
guess
just reinforces kind of what I said.
yeah.
You can't say
exactly.
what you want. You can't have an opinion because it's being influenced by somebody else. So if we're doing perpendicular sponsorships, meaning, you know, ones that aren't anything close to what it is that we do or talk about, that's one thing. But then if it crosses the line of something that you don't agree with, to you is immoral or inappropriate or something like that, and you're at the mercy of, hey, there's what this company tells you to do, like for a podcast network or something like that. Now what do you do? Do you bail on the deal that you signed with them because you don't want to do an ad read for whatever it is? You don't want to do the ad read for Blue Chews because you don't like that kind of stuff? You know,
No comment.
yeah, I mean, that's the thing. So that's why I said, you know, sure, I'll sit here on the show and I'll drink one of these delicious Rain Total Body Fuel Orange Dreamsicle, which I shouldn't be drinking this late at night, but whatever. I was thirsty. It's got BCAA aminos and electrolytes and stuff. I'll do an ad read for that because I don't give a crap if people buy this or not. I like it, so that's why I drink it. But we don't talk about it on the show. This isn't something we're trying to hawk. This isn't something we're trying to have an opinion on or explain or discuss or anything like that. So who cares? It's like totally different. But then again, these aren't the kind of people that would sponsor a show like ours. It's the parallel groups, the ones that seek to influence, because our audience is also their audience. And that's where it becomes a problem. And you see that people see right through it all the time. When you do a show and you're sponsored by something and you talk about something and you clearly are advocating for whatever BS it is, people see right through it. They see right through it all the time. So I don't know. I don't know why people try to put up a front, because it's silly.
Before we move on to our next topic, I just want to touch on this really quick because I feel like we've given this more airtime than I guess we enjoyed this conversation, but like the whole offensive shill bidding and defensive shill bidding, again, that's going back to that splitting hairs and that nuance. And basically the idea is a defensive shill bid is if it's $100 card and it's only selling for like $4, then you go and you bid on it to get it close to that price that it should sell at, or what it comped at, or what you think it should sell for. Versus offensive.
Yeah, you don't want some idiot getting a good deal.
Yeah, because you don't. Yeah, and I can't believe that they would say that some idiot get a good deal. And yeah, and sometimes I was that idiot getting a good deal, and then I'd be pissed when they couldn't find it. And they'd be like, "Oh, I don't know what happened to this card that you won for $3. I'm very sorry. I'm refunding your money." Or when you're winning, and then with like 10 minutes to go, they just cancel the auction, and you're like, "What?" Like, I was winning this, this $400 card. I was winning it for about $150 with like maybe a couple minutes to go. And I guess maybe not a lot of people were watching it. So then they just canceled the auction. And
what? Well, not only is that crazy, the whole idea that like you might get a deal, but maybe it's the market speaking that maybe this card is not as hot as it was a month ago, but they won't allow it to go down because it only has to go up. So, right. So even if you got a $400 card for $175, let's say, maybe that's the market saying, hey, this card is going in a lower place. Again, this is why you can't trust the comps, because nothing ever goes down. Everything always goes up or stays stable.
Bingo.
Nothing goes down. Nothing goes down.
Bingo.
And the
Bingo.
thing is, if you
right there.
And I guess that's okay, but if you are selling at a card store or selling at a card show, and you say, well, this card used to be $100 card, but now it's a $30 card, but I'm going to sell it for $100, you're frowned upon because it's not comping for that. I mean, people have come to me like just...
You might be frowned upon, but you're also not going to sell the card.
No, well, I'm not... Right. But
yeah. You're stuck
like
with
for
it.
instance, somebody said to me, "Do you have a Cole Caulfield Young Gun?" And I think I said to the guy, "Yeah, I have 3 of them at home." And he's like, "Oh, why didn't you bring them to the show?" And I said, "Because his Young Gun has gone down so much in value that if I sold them now, I'd be selling them at a loss. So I'm just going to wait and see what happens." I mean, that's part of the game,
and that's
right?
okay.
That's why nobody's selling Bedard.
But that's okay.
Right.
That's your inventory. You can leave it. You can take it off the table. That's okay.
Same with Matty Beniers. That's another one where I was just like, oh, this, or Moritz Sider's another one, like where I'd have a couple of their cards. And then, I mean, even like Tim Stutzla. I mean, I've seen his Young Gun progressively get lower and lower, either as the supply meets the demand or his play tapers off or whatever, right? For whatever reason, because the market being fickle as it may be, right? So, you know, if I just say, well, I want this card to sell for $100 because it used to sell for $100, so I'm going to go do some offensive shill bidding on it and try or whatever, right? Like, yeah, that's not, I mean, I guess that's maybe okay or maybe not okay according to some of these industry people. Who knows? Who cares? I care. We don't care. I care and I don't
because
care.
we're talking about it because
yeah,
it's an
but
issue.
but it doesn't affect my life in like the grander scheme of things.
No, I don't think it affects any of us that much because we're not in. As you said earlier, we're the cheap ass $20 guys. We're not in this $20,000 realm where a couple $1,000 makes a huge difference.
Right.
You know, a couple $1,000 might be our entire collecting budget for the next 3 years.
Right.
You know? But you know, to both of your points that in all of our points that we've been saying, like Clemente says, you can't trust these comps at this point because they become watered down and full of fake things. So many things go into an auction and a final sale. Plus, there's so many things that aren't being captured by a lot of those. Like you said, you can take your inventory off the table if the stuff goes down to a point and you're into it. You know, you got 7 Cole Caulfield Young Guns and you're into it for $3,000 and the current market for all of them are, you know, about $1,500. You know, he's a good player. You know, he may have slumped. You know, that's probably why his cards are going down, but they've been out there for a while. There's plenty of inventory. There's plenty of them out there. So maybe the market's cooled off a little bit, but you bring them off the table. You bring them back out later on when he hits and prices go back up a little bit. The problem is with most of this ultra modern stuff comes out, it's in the market, it's immediately accessible. Here's 3 of these cards nobody's ever seen before. One goes for this price, one goes for this price, one goes even higher than that, and it pushes this market way up. And then 3 more come out, and one guy decides to list it at 3 a.m., ending on a Sunday, which nobody sees it. It sells for super low. I mean, just like anything in any market, you're going to have bookended. If you don't have a set price, it's going to get bookended. There's going to be a super low one that can be explained away somehow and a super high one that can be explained
away.
Yeah,
the outliers. They're outliers.
The outliers can always be thrown out. And in any good ratio study that somebody does,
the median,
you're going to throw out the outliers.
Yeah.
You're going to look at where the pocket is, where the mode is, where the median is, where the
bell curve.
Yeah, we don't want to know where the outliers are. We want to know where the vast majority of it is all falling. And, you know, if you're within a few bucks and a few percentages of, you know, most of what's in the middle, then you got a pretty good idea. The problem is people don't do that. They grab their phones and they're like, last one sold for this. No, just no. That's it. And now that we know all of this stuff, everybody's shill bidding. Nobody's honest anymore. It's the Wild West out here.
Let's talk about some hockey cards, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. So 25-26 Upper Deck Series 1. So just to give a little bit of the lowdown on this set before we get into the details about the design, the Young Guns, and so forth. So Upper Deck Series 1 Hobby was released October 15th. So that's the hobby boxes that you would find at your card stores. The retail boxes were released November 5th, 2025. So that's like your retail tins, your blaster boxes, your mega boxes, and then maybe just like your loose retail packs. So typical Upper Deck set breakdown, you got 200 base cards, you got 50 Young Guns, and then there's a ton of inserts, parallels of inserts, and we'll get into all of that. But yeah, it's your typical 250 card set. You know, you got 198 player cards of veterans, 2 checklists, 49 Young Guns rookie cards, and 1 Young Guns checklist. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about, and for those of you watching the video, you can see this nice little chart that I made. Those of you who are listening to the audio version, I'm going to just kind of give a quick read of this chart, because I like to know what the different costs are, because sometimes you go to the store and you're like, oh, maybe I'll buy a blaster box, right? Maybe I'll buy a mega box. Maybe I'll buy a collector's tin, right? Because these are at different price points, right? Or should I get a hobby box, right? Like, and so like your typical hobby box, well, a hobby box has 12 packs. Right now, they're selling for about 120 online, maybe a little bit more in your hobby store. By the way, these prices do not count tax. They do not count shipping, because depending on where you buy, you might not pay tax, you might not pay shipping, right? Or if you buy them in a store like Target, you get 5% off if you use a Target Red card, and so on and so forth. So these are just kind of like just your typical retail prices. So a hobby box, 120 bucks, 12 packs. So you're looking at about 10 bucks a pack. You're going to get 144 cards in that box. You're going to get 6 Young Guns. That's what really everyone's after, right? Because base cards, you end up with too many base cards anyway. So the Young Guns are what people are really after in this set, right? So you're going to pay about an average of $20 per Young Gun. I mean, that's just kind of what it breaks down to. Now, of course, when E-Pack comes out, that kind of throws all of this out the window. But for right now, that's what these prices are. Collector's tin, 60 bucks. Now, Tim found some cheaper. We'll talk about that. But a collector's tin has 8 packs of Series 1 plus a Dazzler's bonus pack, right? So now you're paying about $7.50 a pack. You're going to get either 2 or 3 Young Guns, because in hobby boxes, you get 1 Young Gun in every other pack. In retail boxes, you get 1 Young Gun in every 3rd pack, right? So if you get 2 Young Guns, you're paying about 30 bucks per. If you get 3, you're paying about 20 bucks per, right? That's for a tin. Mega box, 40 bucks. You're going to get 6 packs plus a rookie class bonus pack. So you're looking at about $6.67 per pack of Series 1, and you're going to get 1 Young Gun in every 3 packs, so you're going to get 2. So again, you're paying about 20 bucks a Young Gun. And finally, in your blaster boxes, which you think, oh, blasters, those are only 20, right? Nope, they're 25 now. They've been 25 for a while. You get 4 packs, $6.25 per pack, which ain't bad compared to the $10 hobby pack price that you're paying. But you're going to get either 1 or 2 Young Guns in a blaster box, because again, 1 in every 3 packs. So you're paying about $25 for that 1 Young Gun, maybe $12.50 if you get lucky and you get 2 Young Guns in your box. So when I was buying some hobby packs recently, I decided to buy collector's tins and mega boxes, because I kind of wanted to compare those two things and kind of just see like what the collation was like, what the breakdown was like. But there you go. So that's just basically a look at like the costs of what these cards are selling for. So the design. What do you guys think of the design? I've been talking for a long time now. So what do you guys think of the designs? Here's a couple of base cards. We got Sergei Bobrovsky. Great shot of him stopping the puck. Looks like the puck's about to hit him in the head. Matt Boldy looks either happy or angry. I'm not sure. Cam Fowler's probably celebrating an assist he got, secondary assist. And then Austin Matthews is trying to grow a full beard, and he's really happy with himself. So I love the photography. But what do you guys think overall? Just you both opened some packs. Clemente, you got a box, right?
I got a hobby box. I opened it over Thanksgiving, actually.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the set?
You know, overall, the set, I was very happy with it. I feel like the last couple of years I've been very disappointed with the design and with the inserts and just the overall feel. I was really happy with the box, with the product, with the design, with the photography. I agree the photography looked better. This design is good. I mean, I feel like as I get older and my eyes get weaker, that the writing is too small on the
Yeah.
front. And the one real negative of the design is I think in some cases, especially on the Young Guns cards, the skates is interrupted by the Young Guns logo at the bottom, and so sometimes it looks like one card I thought was actually damaged, and it was not. It was just that the laces were kind of creating a sort of visual effect with the word guns at the bottom. So that kind of bothered me. I think it is a little too small. It blends in too much with the bottom. With in some cases, if you're watching the video, for example, the Bobrovsky card, like it just the name gets lost in the stick and the pads, that kind of thing. Even on the Austin Matthews, it's like the right his name is like near his crotch. Like it's just very sort of strange and hard to read in some cases. And I think Topps Baseball did this a couple of years ago, where like people were like, I can't read the name; it's blending in with the bottom, with the players. So I'm not crazy about that part, but otherwise, general feel, I like it.
Doesn't it almost look like where the team name is, that's where the player name should have been? And in that blank stripe that's close to the bottom of the card, that's where
Right.
the team name should have been. It
Yeah,
almost feels like it got shifted.
everything's up. Everything should be down one, right?
Yeah, because you're right. Because like well, first of all, I find the silver foil hard to read. Like
Yeah.
I don't mind the silver foil for the logo, but for the names, I always hate that. I'm just like, it's harder to read, right? So yeah, so now you got silver foil over like usually a lot of times like a dark color. So it's just even harder to read. So yeah, I feel
Look
like
at the Matt Boldy card. You can't see his name.
no, no, you can't, right? Like you can only see it on the Cam Fowler card in this example because it's printed over the ice. Most of it's printed over the ice, but it really feels like it needed to be shifted down. I don't know why they did that. Like that would have probably made it a little better, I think, a lot better. Tim, you also open packs or a couple of tins, I believe.
Yep, I opened 2 retail tins. Sure did.
You don't sound too happy about that.
Well, some of you would be asking, why? Why would you do that? Well, because I was feeling like I hate myself that day. So I figured, why not continue punishing myself? So I bought 2 retail tins. And it worked. I felt dirty after opening these. Really dirty. And yes, you're right. Earlier, you said I found them cheaper. I got them for $40 each. So my Young Guns only cost me $13.33 repeating cents. If my math is correct, although can't really do that now that there's no more pennies. So we'll just round up to $13.35. Let's just call it that.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
So yeah. Yeah, with 8 packs and 12 cards per pack, plus the bonus pack, which I don't even really count because those are just Dazzler cards, and I didn't get any of the fancy orange or black or sorry, any of the red or black.
Red or
I got
black.
all orange. But one was Bedard. Yay.
Yay.
So yeah, if you do the math, that's what, 96 cards, 192 cards total since I bought 2.
Mhm.
And I pulled 55 base doubles. And these came out of the same case because I watched the guy pull them out. 55 base card doubles. Couldn't believe it. Absolutely could not believe it. But anyway, I got 6 Young Guns. No one to speak of. You can kind of see where this is going.
Mhm.
Now, so let's go to the particulars here. We're talking about the card design. Love the photos. I think this is the first year where I've honestly felt that the photos on the base cards were better than the ones on the canvas now.
Yeah.
It's kind of flipped. We get a lot of these shots where the camera's down low and it's like the full shot where the player looks like a giant. You got a lot of close-ups. If you go to that other picture of the Austin Matthews card, you get reactions from people like my wife that looked at that card and went, what in the world is happening? And then she questioned whether or not he had work done on his teeth. which he may have. But yeah, like that Cam Fowler one, celebrating a goal. That's pretty cool. You know, Matt Boldy, close up of him, probably at some point after scoring. I don't know. He looked kind of excited. Maybe he's yelling at a referee. I don't know. So these are good shots. They're great. I share the same sentiment as you guys. I can't read the silver text on any of the cards that aren't over the ice. Cam Fowler, for instance, you can read that. Can't see Austin Matthews. Can't see Matt Boldy. Barely see Bob. So a lot of them are like this. It's hard to read the names. I have my fancy old guy eyeglass piece that I usually hold up the card so I can see.
I gotta wear these.
Yeah, I don't wear glasses, but I needed them for these. I probably
wait, Tim. Let's see that. Let's see that thing you were showing us again.
Yeah, it makes me look like Uncle Pennybags. So it's
so that fits over your eye.
I mean, I hold it up
like a jeweler's loop.
Almost. It's like a jeweler's loop. Only
is it curved on? Oh, okay, yeah. Because I was gonna say, because funny enough, this is what I have one of these.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah.
Here's a sticker.
You put it down. You put yours on the table.
His you can put down. Yeah. I hold mine and then I'm like, I do this until I can see it. You know why? I have this? It's gonna sound stupid. The only reason why I have this is because I do team collections, as most people know, and there's so many cards in like the 80s and early 90s where you have
traded to.
Well, not just that, but at the bottom where it's copyright 1989, but it'll have asterisk C 89, asterisk D 89, asterisk E 89, and you have so many different, and I can't see what it is. So I'm just like, okay, I need to have the D, I need to have the E, I need to have the F, I need to have the AC. So I'm like trying to get every variation of all of these, and I can't see. So that's what this comes in handy. But
just anyway. To clarify, what Tim's talking about is a lot of times when Topps would print up these cards, and O-Pee-Chee as well, they'd have like an A sheet, a B sheet, a C sheet, a D sheet. Each sheet would have like 132 cards, less if it was their stickers, I think, maybe. I'm not sure. But like, so the idea is that like there's different, you might have the same card that was printed on the A sheet and the B sheet. So it might have like a slightly different at the bottom. It might have like 2 asterisks next to the copyright instead of 1 asterisk or something like that. So that's what he's talking about. And I side because I've gotten into that myself with some of the
I never wanted stickers. To. I got sucked into it somehow.
I didn't want to either, but like I ended up with like all of the single asterisks. It was like the team logo stickers from 73, 74, I think. The ones that had like the logo at the top and then underneath it has like a flag with like a team name, but the logo doesn't match the flag. This is kind of weird. So let's say like it have like a Maple Leafs logo on the top, and then underneath it would have a flag that says like Penguins or something. And then there would be
there were some years where they didn't really put the date, and they made them look the same. So it's hard to tell that this is from 74, this one's from 76, and this one's from there. So like sometimes that's the only time you can tell apart. I was more thinking of like the regular cards, but yeah, you're right. It's the same thing. And I got sucked into it. I don't know why I did, but it is what it is. So
yeah,
whatever. I'm too far into it now to stop. so I'm not going to, but back to the card design. Yeah. So I share all the same sentiments you guys do. That silver foil leaves something to be desired. Probably, they should have moved the name, because even on that one, like Sergachev, I could see that that's who it is, but I'm also looking at the back of the card, so it's kind of hard to see that. Yeah, if he flip-flopped it, put his name down in that little crossbar there, and that may have fixed it. Other than that, the design, I wasn't like blown away like this was some crazy design I've never seen before. They may have never used this before, but at some point it becomes so watered down that it's like, okay, I feel like I've seen it before, but maybe not. So I think nothing else stood out to me other than the photography part of it. And I think that's the show. That's what you're paying for, is the photography.
Right.
I think you knocked that one out of the park.
No, but I also think I totally agree with that. But I do think that when it comes to Upper Deck flagship, they're going for a look. They're not looking to blow up the design.
Yeah,
So
we're
it's
not going crazy on this. This isn't like some kind of
right.
nutso.
They could, they're not doing what Topps Baseball does, which every year the design is like, oh, that's this year's design. Looks really different. They try to do a variation year to year to year. I'd love for them to break away from this at some point and just do something totally different. I don't know what that is, but they're
If
not.
they
It's
did, we would freak out. You know we would.
yeah, but it would be like, oh wow, well, we would think it was an insert. We would know. We would be confused. But and maybe that's the look they're going for. So I give them a little bit of a reprieve because I do think that year to year things look very similar. I think that's totally intentional. I don't necessarily love it because at some point you want to. I feel like we've been in a 15-year kind of holding pattern of every year it's a little similar, only maybe the wave goes up this time and not down, or it's not straight, or it's what I mean. So I'm hoping that at some point, maybe within a new decade or something, that they can say, okay, you know what, we're gonna start from scratch. We're gonna create a whole new design. Because even the backs, year to year, it's the same. It's a headshot with the the stats and you know, meaningless text about how the guy scored 3 goals last year in one game or whatever, like stuff like that. I'm hoping that at some point they'll break through, or they'll just keep doing this and they'll just leave the crazy stuff, the fun stuff for the inserts, which I'm sure we'll talk about soon.
Even if
Yeah.
you memorize the name, address, phone number part of all the designs over the years on the fronts, I bet you could put the backs of the cards up to each other the last 10 years and have a hard time without looking at the bottom what the dates are. Because the backs are kind of the same across the board. But yeah, wouldn't that be crazy if they took the meat and potatoes and just totally changed it up for a year? Just like the base card upper decks look like, I don't know, like the O-Pee-Chee Platinum Violet Pixel parallel. All of a sudden it's the base card. And you're like, what the?
If I mean, we think
They won't, but
okay, not to go back and wax nostalgic for 30 years ago, 35 years ago, but from 1990 to like 99, I could pretty much picture every upper deck design. You know what I mean? I know what a 90, 91 looks like. I know what a 91, 92 looks like. I know 93, 94, 94, 95, 90, 95, 96. That's where I kind of slowed down a little bit in collecting, but I kind of like that one. I can't quite place. I mean, I would know it if I saw it, but like I could describe like those first 5 years because they were all designed. There was actual like design into it. They had elements on it that made it, just that made it cool, And even like the late 90s, I could picture most of those designs. And then after that, I kind of feel like, well, they got a little more maybe creative with some of the Young Gun designs in like the early 2000s. And then I feel like, yeah, it's become very homogenous over the years where it's like the photo's going to sell the card and, well, heck, you know what? The perceived value is going to sell the card, right? Like that name could be even less legible, but if it has a hot rookie in the set and people are going to want to buy it like they did with Bedard, doesn't matter. Wouldn't matter if their names were printed upside down on that Bedard rookie year set. Everybody was buying it regardless of whether the text was forwards, backwards, sideways, invisible ink, whatever.
I always liked the 95, 96 set because I think the back pictures were better on some of the cards than the front pictures.
Well, that was when they still used 2 separate pictures and it was cool. Right. And sometimes I'd be like, man, I want to put these in the pages with the backs facing out because the backs sometimes the back photos were better than the front photos. Like the front photo is like what you expected the hockey card photo to be. And then the back photo is always like a cool surprise. Like, whoa, that's a neat photo.
I always think of the Yager card that year because the front is just him skating like it is on most cards, but the back is him sitting in front of his locker with microphones in his face.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and he's all sweaty with his mullet. So, yeah.
So looking at the Young Guns design, I mean, it's okay. I actually pulled Ivan Demidov Young Gun, which I guess that's the best one to pull. So I was actually, I will say this really quick. I kind of crushed it with my mega boxes and my tins. So first I opened a mega box and I got 2 Young Guns, and I go, okay, well, that's what you expect. There's 6 packs. So you get one every 3 packs. That's fine. That's cool. Because they always say on average, right? So if you get one less Young Gun, that's well, it's an average over the entire production run. Second mega box had 3 Young Guns. Now, one of them was a Young Guns checklist, but these were all Young Guns, not parallels or whatever. So I'm like, okay. Somehow that one exceeded the average. Way to go, Sal. And then I opened my first tin. So you should get 2 or 3 Young Guns. I got 3 Young Guns. And I'm like, okay, cool. I beat the odds a little bit better. Then I opened my second tin. Did this all in one sitting. And then I got 4 Young Guns in that tin, which doesn't even make sense. That's 1 in every 2 packs. But okay, whatever. I'm not complaining. Like, oh no, I got too many Young Guns in this collector's tin. I feel like I got cheated because I don't know, because I'm not angry for a change about whatever, right?
Sure did better than me. I got 3 in one and 3 in the other. So I got exactly what they said.
Yeah, and that's, well, 2 or 3. So I think you did good. But
not if you saw who they were.
Yeah. Well, do you want to talk about some of the better Young Guns in this set, or some of the because obviously Demidov is the big name, but who else? You gave me a couple of names to look for. I'm going to actually sift through my Young Guns right now and see who else I got.
Well, who else did you get?
Okay, now this is the part where I read names and sound like an idiot. Oh, I got Checklist. Is he any good?
Checklist is pretty good. In fact, he's usually twice as good.
Yeah, well, it's
He's got 2 players.
Davidoff and Artem Lushinov of the Blackhawks. Okay. Now let's see here. Who do we got? Now I'm going to cheat and look on the back of the card because I can't read this foil.
If you got Levshunov, you should be happy about that.
Well, no, it's a checklist.
Oh.
It's the checklist. So
I got you.
Gabe Perreault of the Rangers, Luca Kegoni on the Sharks.
Gabe Perreault's good.
Okay. Nikita Tolopio on the Canucks. Michael Callahan of the Bruins. Elias Pettersson on the Canucks. I guess they have another Elias Pettersson.
Yeah, there's like 6 in the league now.
The Canucks have got to figure this shit out. I'm sorry. Figure it out, okay? No, I don't want 2 guys with the same name on your team. Figure it out. Give one of them a nickname. Call him Mika or something. You know, I don't care. Just make it work. Make it make sense.
They're going to trade for both the Sebastian Ahos too.
No, that's okay. Owen Sillinger, Jacob Melanson, Ethan Frank, Parker Ford, and Dylan Duke. So
I was going to speak up if you said another good one, but you didn't. So
I did not. Sorry.
Yeah.
I could read you mine. Mine are just as bad as I think Sal's. Though I should say this about Young Guns. What we call bad today, you never know. One of these guys explode like in 2 months, and then you're sitting on a $50 card. So I don't know. Like it doesn't.
These guys are a 3-year hold, as the kids say.
Yeah.
So who'd you pull?
So as I put my old man glasses on, Victor Ostman of the Kraken, goaltender.
Okay.
Owen Sillinger, Columbus.
Yep.
Zane Parekh.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Parekh's a good one.
Of the Flames, and then I got a pair of Ducks. I got Tim Wash and Ian Moore, and then I got a Blackhawks, Sam Rinzel.
Nice, Sam Rinzel. Yeah.
So that's what I got.
Yeah, the better ones, I think, and I mentioned to you, obviously, Demidov's the good pull. Levshunov's pretty good. Sam Parekh is pretty good. Gabe's pretty good. I'm surprised you didn't speak up on that Rangers prospect, but he's pretty good. I think Jimmy Snuggerud's a good one. Unfortunate that he went down with an injury, so that's probably going to tank that for a while. I like Noah Ostlund too, but unfortunately he plays for the Sabres.
Yeah,
that
no one's
one's probably.
I think I got a. I want to say I got a canvas of him, a Young Guns canvas, but as soon as I saw he plays for the Sabres, I was like, forget it. No one's gonna care about this guy. So.
Matthew Wood's another good one for Nashville. I think he's one to watch. Kind of an up and comer too. But you're right. There's a lot of names on this list. Probably another 40 guys that are just
it's Series 1. So like these guys some of these guys played in the playoffs last year, so they got a card, but they're not blowing it up. Series 2 is going to have the better the leftovers. Yeah, they're going to have the better Young Guns in Series 2 as they always do, right?
Yeah, you'll have all the debut guys in Series 2.
Yeah, because Series 2 is all the guys that like made
all the draft picks.
All the draft picks were making their exactly. And Series 1 is like, oh, we need a guy to fill in a fourth line left wing position for game 81. Left. Yeah, exactly. Right.
You got the playoff call ups and the extras, the leftovers.
Right.
And
the goalie that.
The few exceptions that they make on occasion.
But yeah, the goalie who sits on the bench and does nothing.
The Series 2 guys are always the beginning season debuts for most of the draft picks and stuff like that. And then extended is always the guys that make their debut at like December, January. So
but not good enough they hold the better ones for Series 1 of the next year if they can. So they won't put them in extended. So it's a dance they do at the end. Sometimes they put a good one in there just to get the extended product to sell better, but otherwise it doesn't. Like, I think Adam Fantilli was in an extended. I think
was it Fantilli
was extended? Yeah.
Yeah, and
did they do that with Carlson?
And it still didn't move the needle much on extended. I mean, what helped extended this year was the Ovechkin buybacks. It wasn't the rookies. It wasn't the Young Guns. So.
Yeah, so some of those inserts, we have UD Canvas, we have Encore, we have Portraits, and we have Cup Quest. I'll say this. I like Cup Quest. It kind of reminds me.
Same. I like it.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of 93, 94 Leaf. Remember it had like those, like the kind of, although those were usually cityscapes. Although I think the Buffalo Sabres had like waterfalls for like Niagara Falls, or they actually literally had Niagara Falls, but you know what I mean? Like I kind of like Cup Quest. It's just interesting to me. Encore,
is that a parallel?
What?
Your Cup Quest?
No,
or is that just the way it's scanned?
No, just the way it's scanned.
Because mine doesn't. The one I pulled does not look like that.
No, here's the thing. If I use my flatbed scanner, I got three scanners at my desk, right? One's on my printer, so that one doesn't really count. I got a flatbed, which makes everything look black. And then I got this different scanner that is bright, but it also puts in those scan lines. So it's like, do I want it to just look black or do I want it to have scan lines? So I go with the scan lines. This is more just for illustrative purposes.
I gotcha. Yeah, because the Cup Quest to me, it was an interesting design card. With those mountains or whatever it is in the background. It's like something straight out of the
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Well, I was going to say it was like Lord of the Rings-ish.
Oh,
like
and I was
the Shire was in the background of the mountain, and there's the cup at the top of the mountain.
Yeah, that works too. But I like Monty Python and the Holy Grail because it literally has a Holy Grail in the background. But okay, I gotcha. I hear you.
I showed it to my wife because we opened this together, and I showed it to her. I'm like, that's pretty cool, and she just goes, cute. So I don't know what that means.
So you had a problem with portraits. You referred to, what did you call it? Frightmare?
Is that what I called it? I don't know. Yeah, the portraits. Okay. Every year they change up the portraits. They give it a new theme or whatever. Never did I think I would want to go back to the weird portraits with them wearing Renaissance outfits.
Oh, God, I love that set.
Yeah. Well, then I saw this. So I pulled 4 of these, 2 in each box, or 2 in each tin. I got like Tage Thompson, Linus Ullmark, Seth Jarvis, and Adam Fox, I think. So I'm not sure about these. They're kind of cool, but also frightening at the same time. They kind of gave me like Thermal Threats vibes. as
Mhm.
I
A
was
little.
staring at them.
Little.
But without the face melting fire look to them. But I will say this: I think my wife summed these up the best. I know I brought her up a couple times, but she opened these with me. She summed these up best when she said that they reminded her of the cover art for pretty much any Netflix documentary about serial killers.
Okay.
And I stared at it after that, and I was like, "Yep, that's the one. That's exactly it."
No,
Because like every
yeah.
Netflix show with serial killers, it has half their face as a normal photo, and the other half is like
evil, whatever.
black and white evil, like police lineup photo. And that's exactly what these are.
Well, you make a
I
good
don't know
point.
whose idea this was, but they're crazy looking.
No, you make a good point. The first impression you get is like my impression was like, oh, Bruce Banner and the Hulk. Like this is what I thought. Like
Yeah,
that
that
split.
works too.
Like, that's a little more dated reference. But I'm like, what? I mean, if there's ever a time to maybe retire portraits, it could be now. Like, I just don't know anyone who collects these. I mean, whenever I go to a show, they're basically like in like they're not even in the quarter box. Like nobody wants these. And I've not seen one portraits that I'm like, yes, this is like I want to do this. I want to collect it. And these just look jarring to me and just
They're
creepy.
out there.
Yeah.
They're honestly out there. I don't know where this idea came from, but it's pretty crazy. So congratulations or shame on you. I'm not sure what approach
I mean,
want to
I
take.
don't. I'm not a fan of the portraits, but I'm not like. How do I put this? Like most years, I don't collect portraits anyways, so to me it doesn't matter, right? They're either something that I like. Usually, I don't collect portraits because I got enough to collect as it is, so I really don't need another insert set to chase. I got to really like it. And every year I usually say, oh, yeah, I'm going to build this one. And then I just never do. Right. But like, no, I mean, I don't mean with portraits. I just mean like right now I like Cup Quest and I say, oh, yeah, I want to build Cup Quest. But then there's probably like 60 of them. And I'm just like, okay, do I really want to spend $40 putting together this insert set? I really don't like it that much, whereas the portraits where they were dressed like Renaissance people or the portraits from 2021, AKA the Saved by the Bell design, I will never let that one go. I will defend that one until I die. It's just one of my favorite sets because it's so out there, right? This I look at it and go, okay, it's creative because it's different, but it's not
doesn't equal good.
Doesn't do anything for me. You know what I mean? And now it would look weird if the black and white. So those of you listening to the podcast, obviously you could Google an image, but it shows like a color photo of the player wearing their helmet, or if they're a goalie wearing a mask. But then like the photo is torn, and then where the tear is reveals a black and white photo of that player's face without their helmet, right? Now, it would look weird if that black and white photo was also color. It probably look disgusting. Like, what the, right? Like maybe the helmet
piece was
broken.
missing. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. Like, especially how the chin doesn't quite line up perfectly on that Ovechkin card or whatever. But
and that's the problem I have with these. A lot of them are okay because they match like consistently. But I pulled a few, like of the ones I pulled, like the Adam Fox one. They messed up on that one. Like clearly they messed up on that one.
Is it meant to look like a collage? Is that meant?
Look,
hang on.
Oh yeah, that's.
Let's hang on. Let's see that, Tim.
That's creepy.
Oh,
like, look,
whoa.
Like his chin doesn't match with the rest of the photo, so his head is not proportioned to the
Even
rest
the helmet
of the
looks a little higher up. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that one is not done correctly. Or like the Seth Jarvis one, it's like they tore away Seth Jarvis and weird Johnny Depp is coming out of his helmet.
You could just say Johnny Depp. The weird is implied, but okay.
It looks like he's got a scar.
You see how this is? Like his mustache should carry over, but it doesn't. And his eye would be disproportionate. So it's weird. And like there's some other ones that I've looked up a bunch of these to see how they were. And some of them, like the eyes are off a little bit and stuff. So that makes it even more serial killer like.
Yeah, okay. I mean, Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at some of these. Yeah, they're kind of weird.
So the idea here is to like the novelty, but don't look too closely. The more you look at it, the worse it gets.
Now, one thing I will point out, and I kind of wish I threw up a picture of this in the video, but you'll just have to use your imagination. Encore, that's straight up, or not
OPG,
quite.
OPG
No,
Platinum.
no,
Yeah,
that
it looks
is
like
98.
98.99.
Thank you, 98.99 Upper Deck. And you know what?
Yeah.
What solidifies this is I'm looking at the back of the card, which uses a horizontal layout, and I'm looking at the back of a 98.99 card, which also uses a horizontal layout. And I go, okay, so this is basically 98.99. So what would that be? That would be, let's see, 98, 99, 2003, 4.
Yeah, it's not like
So it'd
it's
be the 27th anniversary.
yeah,
It's
which
not
makes
quite.
no sense to me.
It's not quite a round number, yeah.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't.
But is it called Encore for that reason? Like we did it again, or
I don't know.
I
No,
don't know.
Encore. I think that was the first year that the Encore, what do you call them? Like parallels were done.
I see.
98.99.
I think so.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Let me.
But I
I
do
could be
like
wrong on
the.
that. Somebody can fact check me if they want. But
I'm
But I
gonna
will
just
say,
yeah.
I do like the design. When I got those out of my box, I was like, oh, these are nice. Maybe because it was from a basically like a harken to an older set where the designs were clearer and nicer. I'm like, this is better than the base, and I was able to pull a few nice ones like Ovechkin and Bennington, and I got a Demi-Doff, but a blue one, so I'm not sure if that's like a rarer one,
ooh,
But the funny thing
blue
about
parallel.
Upper Deck is that I realized that once I pulled the Demi-Doff, I was like, Upper Deck will never put. They have the Young Guns franchise, but they'll never put a rookie card logo on anything. So
No.
this Demi-Doff card is a rookie card, rookie year insert. If this was a Topps card, they'd be like an RC in the corner.
Yeah.
And so it's a little harder in Upper Deck to really, if they put RC, I bet if they put RC on these cards, they would do better. But it's just Young Guns or bust, right? So nothing else matters. But because for the Demi-Doff one, like you wouldn't even know unless you know the set. You're like, is rookie year card? Is like year 2 or what is this? Like you wouldn't know unless you remember it. So that is probably a marketing thing that they could change if they wanted to. If they wanted, they say they don't care about the secondary market, but let's be honest.
I don't think they want to touch.
Everybody cares.
They don't want to touch what they've been doing for so long with the flagship set. That for the others.
Just to clarify,
lessers.
What's that?
I said they would save that kind of nonsense for their lesser sets.
Yeah, they put the RC logos on like OPG Platinum.
Yes.
Well, Platinum's got the marquee rookie designations.
But I'm thinking of like the but they still, I've seen RC. I'm pretty sure
Or just the word RC. Rookie, like with like
you've seen the RC on the retro OPG.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. The retro OPG, yeah. So real quick, Encore. Encore was an insert set in 2021 Parkhurst, and it was also an insert set in 24-25 Upper Deck. So so I don't really know what this is an encore of, but it does look like 98.99 design with kind of like a black diamond sensibility, because you got like that kind of like that etched foil. You have like the player raised off of it. Like I like these encore cards. If there were like 20 of them, I'd build the set, but there's like 60 of them or something. So I'm just not that interested in, I think I just want to try to get the base set, you know what I mean? And maybe not chase after a bunch of inserts. Speaking of a bunch of inserts, there's also OPG Glossy, Compadres, which has 2 players on the same team, rookie class cards, which were Mega Box exclusives, Bustle, which that's now we're getting into some of the unnecessary ones, like the OPG Glossy don't do anything for me. Compadres is kind of a nice idea, but I don't know. Bustle, and then Dazzlers. We got Dazzlers Blue, Dazzlers Red. Dazzler's Orange, also available in gold, green, pink, black. Lots of Dazzlers. And then just a few other ones we'll talk about these, or whichever ones you want to talk about. But sizzle reel, goal-oriented tracking systems. And then there's also 94.95 rookie tribute die cut, which are Walmart exclusives, I think in Walmart blasters. Bootlegs, which are like one in every 1,440 packs. Compositions, Fanimation, which uses a similar look to the portraits cards with like a mix of black and white and color. Holotypes, population count, sophomore sensations, snow spray autos, plus variants of most of these inserts like speckle, red, gold, etc. So I don't know. Any of these other ones jump off the page at you guys?
First of all, what the heck does bustle even mean? What is that?
Like hustle and bustle, like
Yeah.
movement.
Yeah.
That's a term that they use in hockey.
Not
Well,
really.
it's not a hockey
Yeah,
term.
I didn't think so either.
It's a
That's why I was
term.
like, that's super weird. The compadres ones, okay, I get it. They're teammates. Again, cute, cool. I think I got one.
With the fist bump.
No, I got
fist
two.
bump
I got
logo.
one in each.
I like
thing.
that.
Yeah.
That reminds me, the two that I got, they remind me of the old hockey hugs that were in Top Skate
Okay.
that I always liked. But the compositions ones, I thought they were kind of interesting with the black and blue superimposed headshot.
Mm-hmm.
They were kind of, throwback like Olin Mills style almost. I got 3 of those in the tins. I got another Bedard, so
You're
gonna
crushing
make
it, man.
I'm going to make bank off of those. Cub Quest, we already talked about. The Encore. By the way, the Encores, they came out with specific sets in 98, 99 for football and basketball. So they weren't in hockey. They were their own. They were their own sets. It was Upper Deck Encore.
Really? Okay.
Same design, looked just like that. Goal oriented. I don't know. These are kind of fluff to me. Goal is written in some kind of weird script that forms a goal, which is okay. That's fine. That's clever. But then in the background, there's like a bunch of words floating around, like laser and breakaway and slap shot and left wing and a bunch of other things that are too blurry or out of focus that I couldn't even read and tell what they are. So yeah. Tracking systems, I pulled a whole bunch of those. And they're just the goalie cards with the player in the center. So there was nothing really like super fancy about those. Which is weird because if you look in the background, they're like overlaid over top of a map, which there's lots and lots of streets. So that's probably like a residential neighborhood because of all of those streets. But the map pin is pointing at where the puck is. So if you couldn't find the puck, it's where the map pin is. So that's all right. Yeah, the glossy, they're the same every year pretty much.
Well,
Canvas, same every year pretty much. They haven't really changed those. But the sizzle reel, we should talk for a second about the sizzle reel.
Yeah, and then we got to say tracking systems because there's something there that I got to point out about that. Actually, let me just point this out really quick.
What else?
No, with the tracking systems, that puck was just put like superimposed there. That's not actually the puck in the photo because they all have the same puck. And the goalie's not even looking at the puck. So it's not like that when you're talking about the pin in the picture on the tracking systems cards.
Yeah, the pin's on the puck.
Yeah, but the puck, it was just added to the photo later. It's not actually the puck that would have been, it's not from the game puck is what I'm saying.
Oh, I didn't think it was.
No. But anyway, so the other thing, so I looked at the first couple of these and they talked about players' road wins. And I said, oh, okay, tracking systems, they're on the road, right? But then they're not always like that, though, because sometimes they say here, like this one of Jake Ottinger that I'm looking at talks about a win on home ice. So that negates that. Whereas, what's it called? What is this here? This one that I'm looking at of Shesterkin, says tops the host stars, right? So at first I thought, okay, these are goalies who had good performances on road games. Okay, I get it. Tracking systems, right? It's like a Google map or whatever. It's got a pin, whatever. But then when it starts talking about home games, also, it's just like, all right, so it's just a goalie who got a win in a game somewhere on the home or in a home game or on a road game. So seemed kind of lame to me once I kind of saw that it really didn't have that much nuance to it. It was just, here's a goalie who won a game. The end.
Yeah, that's why I said it's more goalie fluff for those goalie collectors out there.
Sizzle reel, though. I liked this. I was a fan. Is it perfect? No, but it's a step in the right direction, and I think it's cool. So those of you who are have not opened these cards yet, sizzle reel on the front shows a player, maybe celebrating a goal or doing player things, whatever. On the back, though, has a QR code. Take a photo of that with your phone, takes you to a game highlight. I think that's awesome. I also think it's an idea that's about 10 years too late, but I still think it's awesome. So I give props to this idea because we were talking about this a while back. We were saying that, like, who cares about stats? You can get stats anywhere. I mean, we like the stats. We want to have the complete listing of stats, but this gives you something else, right? It gives a QR code. You take a photo of it, takes you to NHL.com. After you endure a 15-second commercial, then you get to see the highlight of Matthew Tkachuk or whomever scoring a goal. So I like it. That's all I'll say about that. What do you guys think?
One of the 3 things that made my wife laugh in the box.
Okay.
And not so much because of the concept of the card, but it was just called sizzle reel, and the way sizzle's written with the
fire,
with the fire.
Yeah.
The way she said it. That's what was kind of funny. So she liked it because of the name. But yeah, the highlight thing, that was exactly what I said. It amplifies the interactivity of the card and takes it to a different dimension, kind of puts it into a digital format so that you can now collect using your phone in a digital manner, sort of. But yeah, we've seen this before. They've tried it before. I had an Ovechkin one. I scanned that one, and it links to the NHL.com archive videos. So that's a good thing, because in previous years when they've done these QR code things, eventually the sites go down.
Yep.
And then they never go back up. So just like your power decks don't work anymore, neither did these QR codes. This, hopefully, NHL.com keeps a lot of their archive video footage. I don't know for how long. So hopefully that won't be completely abandoned for those pulling these cards out 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I don't know. But yeah, so for at least a while, they're kind of cool. It's not a new concept, and you're right. It's probably outdated at this point. If they could beam that video right into your brain somehow, maybe that would be cutting edge. Too personal? I don't know. Maybe.
I agree with everything you guys have said. I think it's a smart idea. I do think it's a little late. But then part of me feels like maybe it could have been called milestone reel, and maybe you have some iconic goals, maybe from the past, like the Ovechkin one where he broke the goals record, but also maybe Gretzky and Messier and Brett Hull and Yzerman, and just mix it up with young guys, new guys, all that. That'd be kind of fun. I think people want to see iconic goals, not just like some random goal. That means not. It's like, okay, a random goal. Like I can do that anyway on YouTube all day. And I just
don't know. They tell you what the goal is on the back.
Right. But I just don't know who the audience here is. Is it younger people who don't have the card but have the phone, and people that are our age who are like, I don't want to be on my phone. I got cards. Like I don't know what the Venn diagram here is for these people. I mean, it seems gimmicky, but if you're going to have 27,000 inserts anyway, you might as well do this, because at least it's something different and interesting, and I'm all for it, and I'm hoping they can build on it somehow in a way that is a little bit more meaningful.
So highlight reel would have probably been a better name for this, but sizzle reel is at least from what I remember when I was a film student in film and video, a sizzle reel would be like your 3 to 5 minute reel of footage that you put together of your best work. Like if you were trying to get a job as an editor, you'd put together a sizzle reel. Or if you were like, I don't know, like my friend works in, he does like a lot of editing and production of commercials. And he just said to me the other day, oh yeah, I got to update my sizzle reel because I'm looking for a job and I want to update it with the new work that I've done since my last job or whatever. So that's where that term comes from, for what it's worth. So to me, it made sense right away. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then when I saw the QR code on the back, I'm like, oh yeah, this is.
But I think it's got a double meaning in that it could also mean like a hot goal, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they were going for.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
of course.
The double entendre of that. But you're right. It should link to their sizzle reel, like the highlight video they would show when they return back to a stadium after being traded away or something. Like it's
give me a compilation of like 5 of their best goals or something, like one after another. But whatever. I mean, and they can build on it. And I agree that the big problem, the big hurdle is the hosting site. Like if in a year or 6 months these videos go bye-bye, then people are going to be like, this is useless.
Because it's NHL.com, I think there's hope for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the old school one, like the Panini one that they did with HRX, they were all self-hosted and those things crashed and burned within a year or two. So
right.
Such as Panini.
I still have a bunch of those cards. I have all the hip hop ones. I have like the Biggie and the Tupac and the Snoop Dogg ones.
Yeah.
Some of the parallels, you got the exclusives, which are numbered out of 100, the Outburst Silver, the Clear Cut, Deluxe, which are numbered out of 250, High Gloss, which are numbered out of 10, Outburst Red, which are numbered out of 25, Outburst Gold, which are 1 of 1s, and Printing Plates, which are 1 of 1s. And then I didn't put this on this little slide here or whatever, but there's also the Swagnificent and another one called Celebrations, which is just what you think it is. So yeah, okay, cool.
They've been doing Swagnificent for a while.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm necessarily a fan. And you only get those in hobby. You don't get those in retail. So since I tend to buy a lot of retail, I don't really get a lot of the Swagnificence or whatnot, or the Clear Cuts and stuff like that.
Originally, they were just called Photo Variation. Then they changed it to Swagnificent. But they're hard to pull until EPAC comes out. Then it seems like there's tons of them.
Yeah. Kind of saturates the market. So kind of our recap of Series 1, the good, the bad, the ugly. The good, I mean, I think overall the design, the base card design and Young Gun design is pretty clean. Maybe it's a little too clean in retrospect. Maybe they could be a little bit easier to read. I'm not like super offended by the design though, because usually there's something I don't like about the design every year. So as far as like being a design that has a problem, I guess not being able to read the name is a pretty big problem, but I still like this design. I looked at these cards, I go, oh, these are nice, but maybe what's really drawing me to them is the photography. Like the photography is so good. And like you guys said, usually you'd see a lot of these photos on the canvas cards, right? And so we're seeing them here on the base cards, and I like that. I like 3 inserts per pack, even though I think there's too many inserts. I think if you're paying $6 to $10, I mean, the worst is when you'd get an 8-card pack and it'd be all base cards, and you're just like, this is so depressing, right? So at least you're getting, 9 base cards, 3 inserts. Sometimes you get 4 inserts. If you get, every now and then, I think one of my packs had like 4 inserts. I think the Outburst parallels look nice. I haven't gotten tired of them yet. In fact, I think they're kind of like the new Dazzlers in the sense that, like, if you want something shiny, maybe you want an Outburst. Especially like the silver ones aren't that tough to find. They're not serial numbered, so that's kind of a nice parallel for your player collection. The retail packs aren't too expensive. Looking about $6-7 a pack. We like the Cup Quest, and the Encore inserts, and I like the QR codes on the sizzle reel inserts. But the bad stuff, the hobby packs, still looking at about $10 a pack. I guess it is what it is. It's not $30 a pack like it was a couple of years ago for Series 2. You get a lower Young Gun ratio in retail packs. It used to be that your incentive to buy the hobby packs were that you'd get more inserts, not more Young Guns. More Young Guns, you'd get the same amount of Young Guns. It was 1 in every 4 packs, whether it was hobby or retail. That all changed in 23, 24, where they said, no, we really got to give people more of an incentive to buy hobby packs. So let's make it easier to get Young Guns in hobby packs, harder to get Young Guns in retail packs. And that's where we are now in the hobby. Dazzlers are kind of underwhelming, questionable collation, so the best base set won't be easy to finish. And then the ugly are the portraits. What do you guys, any other thoughts about that? Because I think this kind of summed up what we agreed on, or what, kind of our thoughts. But what other thoughts do we have as we wind this episode down?
You were actually showing the other portraits that I was going to point out, that Olmark one.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is the speckle variant.
Well,
or the speckle parallel, but yeah.
Speckle or regular, the picture's the same. So rather than, because he's wearing his helmet. So rather than making his head fit inside the helmet, they made his chin even with the outside of the bottom of the helmet. So it makes it look like he has a freakishly large side of his head. The inside part's smaller, but the outside part's huge. Like I don't know what's going on.
What's worse than the goaltenders, for sure.
Yeah, they should have cropped it smaller so it looked like it actually fit inside the helmet, but they didn't do that.
Yeah, his ear looks huge.
It's all right. It's all right. Like I can't bag on this anymore. I mean, I can, but I'm not going to. I'm a paid sponsor by Upper Deck. I can't talk about it badly anymore. So, no, you hit all the nails on the head. I mean, I don't really care about some of the collation issues and some of the other stuff, but I agree. Cup quests look cool. I like the Encore inserts, the sizzle reel thing. I don't hate it. I don't think anybody's getting fired for that design. Portraits are super scary. Dazzlers I don't care about, haven't cared about for years. That's about it. I think the photography's top notch this year. So I applaud them for that. So whoever took all those pictures, they need a raise.
Yeah, no, my final thought is that I'm super happy with the product. I feel like it was more exciting this year to open a box than it's been the last couple of years. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it was the photography that I was very impressed with. And I agree that it rivals the canvas ones. The canvas almost seemed redundant. I mean, the canvas cards I got, the guys looked like they were just sitting around doing nothing. So by comparison, that's one thing. The one thing I was hoping they would include, and maybe it's a Series 2 thing, or maybe it's not a thing at all, is some kind of Olympics insert or homage or something, because we're going to be in an Olympic year soon. And I
don't think we're going to get that. I think there's too many licensing problems with that.
Maybe. But I was hoping because the NHLers were going to be at the Olympics that there was going to be something in that regard. And it could be in Series 2 or an extended, we don't know. But I'm saying even if they're in their uniform with a flag behind them or something that was going to sort of point in that direction, the Olympics are in February. But nothing like that. So, it's only the inserts. And maybe Tim is right. Maybe it's a licensing issue. They don't want to go there. But
or just put guys that are all in it and call it going for gold or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I know if they can't appear in their Olympic uniform, but they can appear in their team uniform, like Toronto, but then there's an American flag in the back or something, that would still work for me. But
podium hopefuls,
no luck.
Well, it's like what they did that with was an insert set in MVP called Domains, maybe about 3 years ago, that had like the player in their team uniform, but then behind them they had like their country's flags. And I thought those were pretty cool. And that was one of those insert sets that I said, oh yeah, I'm gonna build this set, and then I just forgot about it.
Right.
I built that and the sparkle.
Really?
Yeah, because they were easy to find when they're 27 cents on ComC.
Yeah, that's right. But there's so much stuff that's 27 cents on ComC that it's just like, I don't know where to start, stop, or draw the line, because like I said, like you wait long enough and there's going to be plenty of them out there. But then you say, do I really need an 80 card insert set? Like when the insert set is like getting close to the size of those old top sets from like the 70s, you're like, wow, what a long way we've come, where, a set was 132 cards and now we got insert sets that are sometimes, like with the Dazzlers, I think they're over 100 cards, so yeah, where to draw the line on that. But yeah,
once you add in all the extended series and all that, they end up getting up over that amount.
Or like your canvas inserts, I think there's like 230. Like in total, there'll end up being like 230 or something like that. So
yeah, canvas, there's always a lot because they add the Young Guns and then they tack onto the back end with like the Legends and Program of Excellence, and so. Which those are underrated cards, I think.
The canvas?
No, the Program of Excellence. But that's another conversation.
Yeah. Well, okay. I think this has been a great episode. We talked about a lot of stuff. Well, we talked a lot about only 2 topics. We talked about shill bidding. We'd love to know your thoughts about that. Please hit us up, on social media or via email or, however you want to get in touch with us. We're all pretty easy to find. Tim is at The Real DFG, although I don't think you're doing social media much anymore. Tim, I'll give you his mailing address. You can send him a letter. Clemente's at Clemente Lisi. I'm at Puck Junk. So that's one of the ways you could get in touch with us. Also, what you think about
carrier pigeon, I prefer.
Carrier pigeon, smoke signal, telepathy.
Telepathy works also.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. If you get that narrow link, then you can just communicate, like just beam it into your brain, like a hockey highlight.
We all have goals.
Yeah. So and then we talked about 25-26 Upper Deck Series 1, and we'd like to know your thoughts about that as well. Do you like the set? What do you like about it? Do you dislike it? What do you dislike about it? Are you going to be building it this year? Why or why not? So hit us up, let us know. And until then, thank you for listening to the Puck Junk Hockey Podcast. As always, if you've enjoyed the show, please be sure to like and subscribe. If you'd like to support this podcast, you could do so by purchasing a t-shirt at shop.puckjunk.com. And if you like to read, check out the blog at puckjunk.com and check out our newsletter at puckjunk.com/newsletter. And until next time, collect what you like.